Greetings and welcome to another exciting episode of Analogpod. I'm your host, Leonard Carillo, and together we're going to explore, probe, and celebrate the passions and interesting journeys of artists and musicians across the Fruited Plain. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. We have with us today a very, very special guest, and not only that, a very, very good friend of mine. Her name is Valerie Weinberg, and we've known each other for quite a while. What an accomplished singer, and so very, very glad to have you today. How are you doing, Valerie?
I am doing quite well. I had a crazy, crazy morning, so happy to be here, sitting down on my couch and talking to my good friend Leonard Carillo from Analog Jazz.
Yes. Analog jazz, yeah. So yeah, no, anyway, very, very glad to have you. And so let's just jump right into it. And so Valerie, let me ask you a question. When did you start singing?
When did I not sing is the question. I was raised in a family where they played Ella Fitzgerald and Frank Sinatra in the background as I was growing up, and my mother used to play her little 66 key piano by ear. And there's one vivid memory I have when I was about 6, driving home from the play at the LA Philharmonic, The Most Happy Fella. And I started singing one of the songs, and I can't yet remember it, but it'll come to me. And my older sister said, "Valerie, that's not the way the song goes." And my mother from the front seat turned around and said, "She can sing it any way she wants." So that was the beginning of I think I'm more of a song stylist than a singer, because, my life went into such a different spin. My mother died when I was 19, and I began to look for security instead of explore my own interests in a way. And I thought, I'm going to get married and have kids. And I did all that. And then about when the kids got to be a little older, I always did karaoke. And I also owned a Jazzercise franchise. So I used to sing to my music. And I began to realize that, maybe I had a voice that I could use. And I started taking a little bit of voice lessons, and he used to say, "Okay, how do you feel? We're going to find out how you feel and peel all the layers away and find out who you are." And he's speaking Greek to me. So I was singing, I bring in Beatles tunes and things like Bonnie Raitt. And he'd say, "Those are really good, but what about a standard? What about a jazz standard?" So I said, "Well, let's try My Funny Valentine," because my mother used to play that on the piano when I was growing up. So he played it and I sang it, and he looked at me and he said, "Where did that come from? That's what you need to be singing, the standards, the Great American Songbook." So that was the beginning of it. And it was the beginning of my sort of blossoming into life, really. My creative side just began to overtake me, and it's been all about feeling ever since. Feel.
And how old were you, Valerie, when you started?
Well, when I was initially started professionally, I was about 50.
Okay.
40, 45, 50.
Okay.
That was when I decided my kids were old enough I could go out and tackle the world. Not to my ex-husband's dismay.
So if there was one person that inspired you,
Mary Stallings.
Okay. Give us a little background.
Okay, Mary Stallings is a very, very well-known American jazz singer. She's now in her late 80s. And when I was about 26 years old, I worked at a dress shop on Arguello Boulevard in San Francisco. And there was this beautiful Black woman who would come in and do all the alterations. And one day, the owner of the shop I worked in said, "Hey, Valerie, do you want to go hear Mary sing tonight?" Mary Evans was her name. And I said, "Mary sings?" And she said, oh, yeah. I said, okay, well, what club? Bimbos or, whatever was there at the time. She said, oh, no, it's at the Opera House. She's singing with Count Basie. Oh. And I went, that's exactly what I did. I said, what? So I saw her performing with, Count Basie's orchestra in the huge Opera House. And I was in the front row. And this is a woman that I loved for everything and didn't know she could sing. That was her, she was raising a daughter. She was a single mom. She was working her way through life and loving her music. And I thought, wow. And I bought every CD she had. And that gave me the motivation to know that I wanted to be like her.
Awesome.
That was it.
I ask my guests this, and it makes them jump in the DeLorean time machine and go all the way back. Do you remember the very, very first Pain gig you did?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I believe it was a wedding. Oh, wait. No, it was when I was a jazzercise instructor, and I just had my daughter, who's now 28, and I lived in Danville. The husband of one of my students knew I had a good voice. So he said, let's put a little set together and we'll perform at a New Year's Eve. It was at a home, one of those recreation lodges in those little home communities in Danville. And I made $100, which is about what I make now.
Yeah, I was going to say that standard pay nowadays.
That was my very first one. And I sang a Dusty Springfield tune and a Sheryl Crow tune and an Amy Grant tune. I was still into that. That was before my lesson, before developing my standards.
Okay, so how would you describe the music that you typically gravitate to?
It's a great American songbook. It's Gershwin, it's Ella Fitzgerald, it's Frank Sinatra. And I say that because they are the people that sing those tunes soulfully and their own way. And any song I sing is really interpreted my own way. I cannot sing on a beat very easily. It just doesn't feel right. And I do the same thing with my artwork. I'm a painter. I do the same thing with my relationships. I have to come from the gut. I have to come from the feel. I can't just regurgitate it like it sounds on the radio or on the record. I can't. It just makes me feel like I'm scratching my nails on a blackboard.
So let me ask you this, Valerie. There's an author. His name is Malcolm Gladwell, and in his book Outliers, he points out the 10,000 hour rule. Where do you feel you are on the 10,000 hour scale?
You mean as far as life or work or
of your craft of singing?
Oh, of my craft, 10,000 hours. Oh, probably at least that, because I've been singing not professionally that long, but my lifetime music has been in my head. A beat or a song or a poem. I'm writing poetry during this pandemic because I wake up with this sort of melodic, whatever's going on in my head. I actually finally wrote a song, the lyrics to a song. I've been writing a poem a week since last March. So
I saw your latest one. I saw
right.
You posted your latest one. So, okay. And I ask this question to every guest that I have on, and so far it's been very, very interesting. And what I want absolute authenticity. I want honesty. How do you feel about the music that's being produced today?
Bleh.
Okay. Qualify the blah.
Well, it's either, rap Eminem rap I kind of can handle, but the new rap I I I know it's a form of self-expression, which I believe is really, really important. But I can't. My mother used to say about Lionel Richie, "What kind of music is that?" And now, now that's melody. But I don't understand the. I guess what I don't understand the melody. I understand the want and need to express yourself. I would not judge a song for that, but I don't really follow when somebody is using one of the older songs and reinventing it like it's a rap song. I think it's a travesty. I think they ruin the feel, they ruin the gut, they ruin the soul of the song. And stream of consciousness is one thing, but the old tunes really make you feel a certain way, and the new music does not, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't feel Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga, yes, but the new stuff like the rap I still go back to Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga or
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a guest on, and I'll just I'll leave it at that. You can go through the episodes to find out who said this, but it's I asked the same question, and this is a person that has devoted his life to music, and he says, I thought he was very prolific in the sense of saying that music is subjective. I mean,
completely.
It's like art, okay? It's like
completely
anything that an individual creates, okay? And it can be interpreted one way or another, whatever. So it's not to discount that, but he says, there's just some stuff that he says, and I agree with this. Okay, technology has given us the ability, has given people the ability to not really hone a craft. It gives them ability to make noise, okay? And then they translate that noise into music, okay? If you put a sheet of music down in front of them, they probably wouldn't know what to do with it. But they translate it into music, and then it turns around and for whatever the situation is. And again, I don't want to, discount anybody's, efforts, but, I agree kind of like what he said. He says, there's so much music being made, and some of the music shouldn't be made. Okay.
No.
Or it should be just kept private. Okay. I try to stay open at my age. I'm from the old school. Sorry, that's just what I am.
Yeah.
Okay. You look at an old car, that's an old car. That wasn't produced, 3 years ago. Okay. And that car was produced, 60 some years ago. Okay. So you look at it, go, it's an antique. So I try to stay, I try to stay relevant to the degree that I have some knowledge. Okay. I don't try to, yeah, no, I get it. My son, about a year ago, I was sitting down in front of the TV watching some YouTube stuff or whatever. And he goes, "Hey, Pops. He goes, you have got to see this." And I said, okay, I can't wait to see what this is all about. Okay. So he switches over and he turns on Billie Eilish.
Right.
Okay. And I sat there, and first of all, visually, I was a little turned off. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm an old guy.
That's right.
I'm an old guy. Okay. Visually, I was a little turned off. But when I started listening to what was going on with what her and her brother were producing, I just said, "Oh my gosh, this is just absolutely phenomenal."
Right.
Okay? And then we watched a few more of the videos, and I just thought, me being a film and video producer as well as a musician, I just looked at it. I went, I was in awe, and I thought, okay, there we go. Okay, they're doing it right. Okay, and however you feel about her music, I mean, it's
right.
I don't sit in my home office and listen to Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish, right?
Yeah, but I respect it to a degree, but they are developing and working on their craft, and that's one thing that I think I think the younger generation, they want shortcuts, and as you well know, Valerie, there are no shortcuts to this business, to this craft, to get to be.
There are no shortcuts to feelings.
Yeah,
that's all.
Exactly.
That's all. That is it. I mean, you can feel it, and you can produce the feel, or you can just produce it. And if you're not getting the feeling from what's being produced, it does no good at all, in my opinion.
No,
feel.
Absolutely. It's again, music, art is subjective, and I've been to I've toured around the world, and
sure.
I've done a tremendous amount. I mean, I've been to I can look at art and go, okay, wow, that was either good, or to me it's
right.
It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Okay.
It's very subjective.
Yeah, it's very subjective. Now, does it mean that that
right.
needs to be thrown out? No, not at all. If it's because it's just purely my it's just interesting that I remember years ago when Michael Bublé came out.
Right.
Okay? You could probably remember this. I mean, he was very reminiscent of Frank Sinatra. And I love Frank. I mean,
right.
I still listen to when I get into certain moods. I throw on I think I have all of Frank's CDs. I think I might even have a few of his albums. But but when he came out, I just thought, wow, thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing this.
Young one that gets it.
Yeah. And it's just it means a lot to me. It means a lot to people like you. And
I saw him at Golden One.
Oh yeah. I think the last time, I think we were supposed to go. Something happened anyway, but it didn't happen. But
it was good.
Yeah. Anyway, but so
how you feel so important.
Yeah. So where musically, where are you going now? Because I mean, the cool thing about you, Valerie, is that as well as analog jazz. I mean, we've been able to get out and perform, which is very, very, very rare.
Right.
A 5-piece band gets out to perform. Okay. We did have to cancel, our Christmas gigs because I got COVID. So did our keyboard, and our sax player got pneumonia. So we had to cancel our Christmas shows, but we have been able to have the opportunity to get out and play. Did you even stop?
Good question. Because I did not necessarily perform every single weekend anyway. I've been, when I first started singing, yes, I wanted to sing as much as I could. Now I sort of I sit back and it's not that I pick and choose, but I need to keep myself open for it because I love it so much. So I have, once again, by feel, I went up to a place in Roseville called Platinum Wine Lounge. And before they even opened, they were on Facebook. And I said, you need music there. Because I keep my ears. I'm also I also book people. Yes. So that which is real important to me, because if I can't do it, I don't want to lose the gig. I want to make sure somebody else gets out there, and I want to please I want to make sure that the client gets what they want. They don't always want Valerie V music. They want sometimes analog jazz, sometimes they want country, sometimes, and I want to have my fingertips on that just so that I can satisfy them. So I have a little bit of a business streak in me as an artist. I don't know how, but I do. So I have managed to maintain platinum because they're in Placer County. So when we were closed down, I sang outside. It was during the summer. And then we missed maybe a month or two, and they opened up again because it's Placer County, and they were able to get a little bit of more leniency. So I just continued, and they have music probably 2 to 3 times a week, and they like having jazz, and they also like having other kinds of music, but it makes their wine bar work. And it's really nice to be able to do that. And then another gig down here at Arrays was outside also. So I was able to hang on to that and if I do produce a show of my own once a year, like I plan on doing one in May outdoors at a jazz supporters home who made a gazebo purposely to have shows out there. Crilly Butler. I don't know if you know Crilly. So I'm going to do a birthday show, and it's Chet's birthday on May 12th and it's mine on May 17th. So we're going to have a big cake and eat outside and, put together a few things and maybe write some lyrics, because I don't write music. I write lyrics. I don't read music. I just hear it. And, those are my little goals.
Good. Well, I've just been, I get
my Valert.
I get your Val alerts.
My Valert, yes.
Yeah. And I see where you're playing, and I'm just kind of going, gosh.
Did she ever stop?
Yeah. But it is, in all fairness, it is you and a keyboard player.
Right.
And which is awesome. We gotta pack up.
You got a big band. I mean, if they want more, I'll give it to them.
5-piece band plus a sound man, and which is fine.
Yeah,
we have scaled back a little bit. What's that?
Yeah, if people want more, I'll try to give them more. I'll hire a bass player or a trombonist, or Chet's my piano player also plays trombone and trumpet and flugelhorn. So I have a little bit of flexibility. If he records us or records himself playing a tune, he has a playback machine, and then he'll play the horn to that. So we get to have a quartet with just 2 of us sometimes. But yeah, it's turned out to be more than a hobby and less than a profession. And if I were not doing it, I would be very unhappy.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it, Valerie. You're keeping you're keeping the jazz
alive.
You're keeping the jazz movement alive and
alive.
That's I remember us talking years and years ago about the movement, and Sacramento, the Sacramento area, which is where we're from, it pretends to be this very what's the word I'm trying to it pretends to be a very metropolitan,
right?
But it's really got a country mentality. Okay,
it's slow.
A very and almost a prejudicial mentality to it. It's like, well, we like what we like, and that's it. Okay.
But we can become big fish in small pond, or big fish in a small pond. That's how I feel.
Well, and one of the guests I will be having on the show is Tom Huskins, which you work very closely with. And Tom, oh my gosh, we owe so much to him as well as you for actually introducing us. I mean, we've been able to get in front of Boney James, get in front of Richard Elliott.
Yeah, I sang with you once in front of Boney James, remember?
Yep, you did. And you
Sway and Fly Me to the Moon.
Yes. Yeah. And, so we are so appreciative.
And Tom's not done yet. You know that.
Yes.
He's not
No, I'm so anxious to talk. I haven't done the interview yet, but I'm so anxious to talk with him because his insight. I mean, for someone not being a musician, not that I know of, that's one of those questions I'll ask him.
He's an engineer.
Okay, good. I just want to get to know him a little bit more, and but what he's done for this community over the years, and last year I think was the first time he got shut down,
right?
And we were hoping to do something with him, but everything got shut down. We had 90%, 90% of our gigs shut down.
Right.
It was just a disaster, but it was okay. It was good. It worked out. Well,
Sacramento's a bit cliquey too. That's the other thing. Yes. And if you are able to, sort of see beyond your little boundary, which is, you asked me, my boundary, my focus is Great American Songbook. But will I sing something else, or will I book something else, or will I work for somebody who's smooth jazz, even though that's sort of a swear word to those jazz traditionalists that, well, golly, it's music, and it's music people feel and people love to interact with. That is what's important. The important thing isn't, well, it isn't what I want to hear. Like my mother said from the very beginning when I was 6, she can sing it however she wants to.
That's it.
And people are going to hear it however they want.
That's it. And I don't know if I told you this story. I did tell this to someone else, but the story was, we had just done a very large gig. It was about 1,500 people there, and it was outdoors. And either we were taking a break or it was the end of the show. I can't remember, but a gentleman walked up to us, and he says, "You guys did absolutely great. You guys are awesome." He says, "But I need to clarify something." He says, "The name of your band is Analog Jazz." And we said, "Yes." He says, "But," he says, "you're not jazz." And we sit there and go, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "You're not really jazz musicians." He says, "You're musicians playing jazz." And my first reaction to him was, I was like, well, you're kind of a smart,
Yes, that's a little judgmental.
Yeah. And I just sat there. I said, "Okay, then explain to me." He says, "Jazz musicians devote their entire musical life to studying jazz." He says,
well, that's his definition of it.
Well, and I had to agree with him and say, no, I didn't spend my entire life devoted to playing jazz. No. I love jazz, and I've always loved jazz. I was playing music that was paying the rent, that was putting food on my table. Okay. And it gave me a chance to see the world, see this great country called the United States by touring. And, so it's afforded me to be able to do a lot of things, but I had to agree with him. And I told him, I said, I respect, none of us, our keyboard player isn't a Thelonious Monk,
No.
I'm not, none of us are jazz musicians that had said, "Hey, listen, we wake up in the morning," when I was, 10 years old and I started playing, and, although I started very young, but I told him, I said, "I appreciate the clarification," but he started kind of backpedaling, just kind of going, "Okay, but I just want you guys are great. You guys are great. I just really enjoy it." I said, "Well, good. I said,
that's all that really counts.
Yeah, that's all that matters to me, is that you have a good time. Okay.
You have to define it as really like it's, defining jazz. I don't know about that.
It was interesting because we were I was contacting, we were trying, there was a jazz festival in one of the towns here, and I contacted them, and apparently the promoter had seen us, had come out to see us, and he goes, "Well, you guys really aren't traditional jazz." And I said, "Nope." I said, I said, "We're smooth jazz, or what we call West Coast jazz." And he goes, yeah, he says, we really want to kind of stick to the tradition.
Traditional is what, improvisational or what?
I don't know. And I just sat there and I said, okay, all right. I just said,
yeah.
I've been doing music most of my life. And I said, I have never seen, a prejudice going on in the music community. It's like, well, you guys are doing smooth jazz or you're doing that.
Well, try working with the Sacramento Jazz Co-op.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to get prejudices and stereotypes and judgments. There you go. I've always been a little bit out of it.
I mean, I understand. I mean, again, it's just kind of like us talking about, I didn't devote myself, but you know what? I worked my butt off.
Yeah.
Learning this craft, and I'll continue to do it. And we still have people coming out to see us, or when things open, they'll come out to see us. But anyway, so
it's a little clicky, little bit.
It's interesting. So,
and that's where Tom Huskins comes in, where he's wonderful.
Yeah, Tom is great, and we look forward to working with him and working with you again and doing some stuff. Yeah, I was thinking back on my show prep, and I remember, I don't know if you remember this.
I do. I have it.
Yeah, you
Santa Baby.
You sang a
Santa Baby,
a beautiful tune called Santa Baby.
Santa Baby, Santa Baby, hurry down the chimney tonight with me.
I get my stand up there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all the Christmas stuff we do, and Christmas time is usually a really big time for us because we get a lot of requests to do our Christmas show. And I can't tell you how many times people have asked me, "Oh, you guys are going to be doing Santa Baby, right?" It's like, first of all, number one, we don't have a female singer. We don't have Valerie with us, and you're not paying us enough so I can hire her.
Right.
Bring her on for one song.
Yeah.
But that's just one of the songs that we're
I
unable
remember
to
it well
during Christmas because. So anyway, but that was a great tune, and this has been a very, very good. And I know it's way past Christmas, but it's available on it's available on iTunes.
Yes. Oh, it is. Oh, goody.
Oh yeah. You can go on iTunes and get it. So. But,
well, the song I wrote is called "I Want to Fall in Love with You All Over Again."
Well, you know what? We're going to have to get you here in the home studio, and
I have notes. It's like, I want to fall in love with you all over again. I want to fall in love with you all over again. Let's get you in here.
Let's get you in here to the studio and record this.
I love it.
That'd be great. Have the band back you up and.
Fun.
Yeah, we'll put it on it. We're getting ready to release probably because different things. Probably early summer. We'll release the new CD that we've been working on.
I even registered it with BMI.
Oh, there you go. Good.
Yeah, I feel authentic.
Make sure that you've registered that. So anyway, back to so. Valarie, you sing a lot of songs from a lot of times, and like I said, the Great American Songbook and stuff. Tell me what your favorite song is. Your favorite song to sing.
My Funny Valentine.
What a
sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, not photographable. Yet you're my favorite work of art. I love that song. It's got so much depth.
Absolutely. That's obvious. So if you could play or sing, if you could sing and perform with any one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Maybe Tony Bennett now.
Okay.
Do a duet. No, he's got Alzheimer's now, but the music, he's 94, but the music, I like him better now than I did when he was younger. Actually, I like his voice better. And then, of course, Mary. If I could sing a song with Mary, I would be. I've been in a restaurant where Mary has been performing, and she lets me.
This was Mary
Stallings.
Okay, okay.
Mary Stallings. She allows me to sit. She plays at Bix a couple of nights a week in San Francisco. That's just sort of her home base. Yeah, still. Awesome. So I'll go visit her, and she'll say, "Hey, sing with my piano player," and I do. But it would probably be Mary, or like I said, Tony Bennett. Now somebody who's not alive would probably be Frank Sinatra, obviously, but something like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, people ask me an artist, I'd like to meet Pablo Picasso. So,
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We were doing a gig not long ago. I don't know, a year or so ago, whatever. And the guy walked up to me and he says, yeah, I really enjoyed you guys' music. And he says, yeah, I'm a musician. And I said, oh, yeah, what do you, because you get that every show.
Of course.
Will come up to you and say, yeah, I'm a musician.
Yeah.
I said, well, what do you play? He goes, I'm a trombone player. I said, wow. I said, he goes, yeah, if you ever need a trombone player, he says, I'm available. And I said, well, give me your number. And I said, and so he happened to actually have a card. And he gave me his card, and I still have it here somewhere. I'll get it out. But he says, yeah, I want to show you. Can I show you something? When the guy asks you to show you something, you got to be careful.
Yeah, slightly.
Can I show you something? I said, yeah, sure. We're out there in the public and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
And so he pulls out this Zippo lighter.
Ah.
And it was gold. And he says, take a look at that, young man. Calls me a young man.
Yeah.
So it gives you kind of the age limit there. Right. He says, take a look at that, young man. And I looked at it, and I said, yeah, that's beautiful. It's like, guy's showing me a lighter. It's like,
right.
Really? Yeah, like, here, let me show you this. It's it's a bat. I don't know, whatever. And he goes, turn it around. And I turned it around, and it was engraved. And I read it, and he said, well, read it. And he says, to my best friend, gosh, and I should have done some research and looked up his name. Anyway, named his name. He says, beloved, your friend, Frank Sinatra. And I'm going,
oh my gosh.
I said, okay. You're going to have to give me the back. You're going to have to give me the backstory here. He goes, I was Frank Sinatra's trombone player.
Wow.
For the last 30 years before,
Yeah.
And I said, I'm looking at him going, I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy. I said, seriously. He goes, no, I'm not joking. He said, why would I joke about a thing like that? Italian guy, why would I joke about a thing like that? I said, do you have your trombone with you? I was going to have him sit in with the band.
Sure.
Yeah. So anyway, but so that's the closest I've gotten to Frank Sinatra. Sorry.
Wow.
But so, well, let's do a little transition here. Okay. Most of my friends, which I have found in the past, most of my musician friends are also artists of some kind.
Yeah. I'm a painter.
And you, along with artists like Tony Bennett.
Right.
Joni Mitchell.
Right.
Ronnie Woods from the Stones.
Oh, wow.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Okay. Even Paul Stanley from Kiss.
Oh, really?
Are painters, are prolific painters. And, I didn't know that about you till I think last year you started posting some paintings that you were doing. And I thought, what? I mean, it didn't surprise me, but I just didn't know that you were a painter. And in fact, is that one of yours behind you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. So anyway, tell us about your journey. And there's one that has this kind of scantily clad woman on it. Anyway, so tell us about the journey.
Well, that's actually, here's the one probably that you remember seeing. Let's see if she's sitting on somebody's lap. Anyway, I don't know, when I was about 3 and I was going to nursery school, my parents, tells you a little about my upbringing. My parents sent me to a Quaker nursery school in Southern California. I grew up in sort of the Pasadena area, Pacific Oaks Nursery School. And it was one of those places where They believed in sort of your freedom being developed. So I, who always wanted ballet classes or dance classes or art classes to teach me how to paint and how to dance, I got them all right. But the dance lessons I got at Pacific Oaks were interpretive dance. One day, Gertrude Knight, the teacher, brought sombreros, and she put on the Mexican hat dance, and she said, okay, see how it feels. And we all, as 3-year-olds, danced around the room. And then also introduced to me on that at that young age was my art teacher. And my parents took me to Susanna's house to paint. And Susanna, when you'd walk in her door, she lived off of the Arroyo Seco near the Rose Bowl. And she had this beautiful Frank Lloyd Wright. Actually, her husband was a protege of, worked with Frank Lloyd Wright. She had this big gully in the back of her house, and we'd sit overlooking this beautiful, outdoors. And on each one of our desks would be sometimes acorns, sometimes sticks, sometimes rocks, sometimes paper, sometimes paint. And she would say, okay, how do you feel about this? What do you want to do with these, with what I put on in front of you? So when I started singing and developing this trade or art or whatever you would call it, is not even really a profession. It's inside of me. I recognize that I wanted to express myself in other ways again. And I remember in high school, my art teachers used to really think that I had some sort of a feeling about painting. And I didn't really exercise it. So when I moved out of my home in Granite Bay and I left my husband and my kids, I only moved a block away, but I had to have some freedom, some free space. I bought some canvases and started to paint again. And it's sort of like whenever I feel stress, either music, singing, painting, or going out for a run or exercising are my ways of releasing the stress. And that's just become a huge part of me. Also fashion. I'm very eclectic. The way I dress is very eclectic. It's all, again, by feel. And I can sit there in my head and go, just like I do with a painting or with a song, with clothing, I'll go, I'll bet that would go with that if I put that with it. That would be fun. And the color would be interesting. And that would sound interesting if I did that. And music, it's really, it's touchy because you can hear a note and you can take it to another level. You can harmonize with that note. And then you can go back to the note. And then you can change it into something else. And it is the same thing on a canvas. You can put a swatch of color, like a swatch of color on it. And then you can add a piece of tinfoil and paint over that. And then you can take it off if you don't like it. And it's really the same thing with music. It's that creativity. It allows you the space to be creative. And that is such a gift because so many of us have to live in a box. We have our boundaries and we have our direction and we have to live by a certain creed and a certain rule. And yes, we do. We can't just blatantly do whatever we feel like it.
Right.
But as long as you're doing it with yourself and the well-being of others in your gut, you're not going to lose. You're just not. It's not going to be bad. That's it. I mean, absolutely. There's no other way of looking at it. If you're doing something to harm somebody, if you're being vindictive and angry and mad and mean, you're going to hurt somebody. If you're doing it with love and care and feel, somebody can call you selfish. That's about the worst thing they can call you. Right. And that ain't so bad. Because being selfish is kind of a good thing, in my opinion. self-motivating, it is. You take care of yourself and your needs, and boy, people just want to flock to you. They want that. They want to know they can be that. This is a hard thing to conquer. And I've sort of spent my adult life doing that.
Yeah. Well, it's great you had mentors early in your life. You were talking about this teacher that, I struggled with school. School had basically no value to me. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And there was one teacher in the fourth grade. Okay. Mr. Horseman, God bless him. I don't even know if he's still alive yet, but he kind of took me under his wing and decided, hey, there's more to this guy than meets the eye. Right. And he worked with me, and he was an artist. And, he started asking me, he started having me apply the things that they were trying to teach me in school. He had me to start apply these things to normal things. Okay. Now, being a musician, I mean, I didn't learn how. I don't know how to read music. Okay. I mean,
neither do I.
I sight read, but when I started, I didn't. Everything was by ear. Okay. Right. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm looking at music. Right. This is how it applies to that note. Applies to this, and whatever. But I'm so grateful to this day, because he's the one that basically kind of transformed the guy. I was like, maybe this school is got some value to it. Maybe I should learn how to read, which I'm horrible. I'm still horrible at reading. And my spelling, you probably got enough emails from me to know.
I have great spelling, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, no, I have horrible spelling. Okay. I mean, people have to proof everything that I send out. And, they said, I said, hey, Leonard, you didn't have that proofed? I said, no. Well, I said, no. Everybody knows that they get anything from me, there's going to be probably 10 or 15 spelled words in it. He goes, well, there's a thing called spell check. And I said, yeah, but somehow I know how to work around that. So, yeah. But anyway.
I love the way your studio as the backdrop looks for how you're interviewing me.
You should
very cool.
You should see the whole thing. If I wasn't using an iMac here, I'd turn it around, let you see the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. This is my Laird here.
Yeah, it's nice.
This is where I do all my work. And so
I have a funny story about my daughter, by the way. When she was in kindergarten, and she's now 28. And she was in a kindergarten class, and she had to paint a picture of her mother for Mother's Day.
Okay.
So she brought this cute little face home, and it's a purple face and big red eyes and brown hair, curly or whatever it was. So we went in for a conference with her kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Gurdon. I'll never forget. And Mrs. Gurdon said, this is an example of Lauren not following directions. And I said, what? She said, well, we asked her to do a portrait for Mother's Day of her mother, and look what came out, a purple face. You do not have a purple face. And I said, she can paint me however it is she chooses. If my face looks purple to her, or she likes that color crayon, more power to her. And I will never forget that. And we still joke about it. The kids and I still will go purple, because who says, in kindergarten, I mean, it was just, I will never forget that. She didn't follow directions. Oh, okay.
Right. So, okay. Well, let's move to a fun question here that I ask every guest. And this is kind of the fun part of the segment that I really enjoy doing. So, Valerie, if you were stranded on a deserted island, what are the 3 albums that you would insist on having?
Probably the Beatles' White Album.
Okay.
Obviously a Frank Sinatra, possibly a Oh, why am I thinking? I'm blank on the trumpet player that jumped out of a window.
Chet Baker.
Chet Baker, possibly a Chet Baker or a Miles Davis, because.
Okay, well, you got to pick one.
You said three.
Yeah.
So.
You got Beatles White Album.
Beatles.
Frank Sinatra.
I don't know. I guess a Frank. Any Frank Sinatra album. Probably the one that has Nice and Easy on it. It was a CD an album that he was nominated for a Grammy on, with The Nearness of You. And then I guess, so Beatles, Frank, and what else would I like to, that's an interesting question. What would be a final one that I would want? What do I listen to now? There would be like a jazz, a Beatles, and maybe a classical, like a Romeo and Juliet with the Mantovani or something like that. That would kind of be a calming, while I was out there trying to listen to something that would calm me down. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Okay. Well, that's
variety.
This is interesting. Okay. Out of all of the episodes that I have produced so far, a Beatles album hasn't been included in every one.
Oh, it has.
Yeah. So I maybe I'll go for a record here, because I don't try to coax my audience. So, but
I get that.
We'll see who breaks the
the mold.
Yeah,
the Beatles mold. Always come to mind because I love McCartney, and I think they traveled over the years in so many different ways. I mean, McCartney's singing standards, Yep. and I love that about him. But
it's.
And I love Latin jazz. I love Latin jazz too. I had
some, our very first drummer for Analog Jazz, Dave Gonzalez.
Right, I remember Dave.
He was born and raised in Cuba, and and he got me turned on to some music from Cuba, and I just had it on the other day, and I was working away, and it was just and I just got emotional, and I just started some tears started coming down. I was like going, I miss Dave.
Yeah.
I miss that guy.
Well, I remember going to the funeral at, it was in Carmichael. Was it in Carmichael?
Yeah, I think it was in Carmichael.
Yeah.
Oh, it was in Citrus Heights. Yeah.
Citrus Heights. I remember.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, he did.
I hate getting older.
Yeah.
I mean, love it. Emotional.
You know what? Out of all the guys in the band, he was the healthiest. I mean, he's the one.
Yeah.
He hounded me constantly. Leonard, do this. In fact, I got several books I got bookshelves all over the place, but books that he get. Leonard, I want you to read this. I want you to read this, and to lose him. It was pancreatic cancer, so it's
that's awful.
One of those things. But anyway, well, listen, Valerie, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure.
Well, as you can tell, I love talking about music, myself, things, art, anything.
Yeah, well, you're a staple here in the Sacramento, Northern California area, and it's like I got to have Valerie on. And
sweet.
But anyway, I appreciate you taking time.
Sure.
From your very busy day.
Oh yeah, my very busy day. These pandemic days.
Yes.
You see how many phone calls I've gotten while I've been on the phone with you?
Yeah, about as
Zero.
About as many as I have.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Valerie, it's been great. It's been
okay.
Look forward to working with you in the future, and think seriously about let's get you in here to the studio and
love to
record that song. So
I had my first shot. I have my second one on the 22nd. I'll be good to go.
Good deal. So
yep.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to let you go. And
okay.
Thank you again. Thank you,
Leonard,
for doing this. And we wish you all the best. And please be safe out there.
I will. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.